All right, we are back in Studio K with RDC. How are y'all feeling coming off of that performance?
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. You want to start by just introducing yourselves, names, and what you do in the group?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Curtis. Do I look at the camera?
Wherever you want to look.
I'm kind of more the harsh noise element of RDC.
I'm Nehemiah, and I play the synth and a couple of other things.
Sweet. Yeah, one of my first questions I had here is kind of about genre. Do you all see yourselves as kind of like a harsh noise thing or more power electronics or kind of somewhere in between?
Yeah, so I think the idea for us was power electronics with a lot of harsh stuff, harsh wall in there. I don't know if you got anything to add to that.
Just blending the two. Yeah.
Uh-huh. And yeah, do you want to tell us about those songs we just heard? You kind of told me before that performance had a name.
Yeah, so that was one song called Manufactured Nostalgia. Yeah, anything else to say about it?
I guess it's kind of just about the innocence of childhood and the obliviousness to, I guess, just like horrors going on in the world.
Yeah, I think like the initial thought was the ideological role that nostalgia can play. So taking that and sort of using that as a springboard to explore a lot of other ideas that we just kind of ruminated on, and this was what came out.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was curious about how like the kind of lyrics and the themes come about. So like how do you go about writing the lyrics? Like you just kind of had this concept of like nostalgia and just kind of going from there and writing lyrics about that, or
Yeah, I think like for this stuff, for noise especially, it's really kind of fun to start with a concept and build everything around that. So that's kind of what we did. We work backwards. It's fun because then you can make a lot of choices in terms of what discrete musical characteristics you're employing based around that theme. So yeah, we were looking at, like I said, the ideological role that nostalgia can play, how it, in retrospect, can paper over and sort of romanticize eras in the world or during our lives that maybe weren't so good. So, yeah, I guess like the song was dark and meditative and a little harsh to reflect that. I don't know, anything to add?
No.
yeah. And then I was wondering about the samples that we heard in there. Where do you find these samples?
Okay, so I put that together, and it took me probably a lot longer than I'd like to admit, but I just used YouTube. I was ripping, finding clips of eyewitness news, casts from like domestic terror events from mine and Nehemiah's childhood. We were born I was born in '88, so a little bit older than some of you guys here, but then yeah, splicing that with some harsh noise that I recorded at home and really nostalgic, commercials that were like aimed, directly at us as kids, that whole like consumerism aspect, I guess, kind of came into play with that too.
Uh-huh. And so what's the songwriting process like? Are you guys making these songs together collaboratively, or what's that like?
Yeah, definitely collaboratively. I guess, we kind of start with an idea and then build a structure, and tweak it until it becomes something that we're comfortable with. And yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add on that.
Yeah, just like what you said, we sort of structure the songs out, and like a lot of it, like when we're doing a wall of noise, is kind of just improvisation. So we just kind of set ourselves up like we know we're going to be doing this here, and then just kind of have fun within the structure that we've set for ourselves.
Uh-huh. And is that song available to listen to anywhere? Or?
It will be available to listen to on Radio K on next Friday, 5 p.m.
Yeah. All right.
Radio K exclusive, dare I say.
Sweet. That's exciting for us. Yeah, so since people listening aren't able to see, I was wondering if you could just give us a quick explanation of like kind of the rig you have and how y'all are making those noises you were.
Okay, so well, for the harsh rig, I'm this performance around. I've just used a looper pedal playing the sample, and a couple different contact mic like homemade boxes ran through various chains of guitar effects pedals, distortion, delay, reverb, things like that.
Then my setup, I have a Korg MS-20 Mini, and then for vocals, just like a contact mic inside of a enclosure that I was using and running through a couple of effects pedals, and a looper pedal also that I was using as like what probably should have been a sampler. I think like something that's fun and interesting about this is we're both like pretty new, relatively new to making noise and like the equipment used for it. And I think that's part of the fun. And I think like when you look back at like music history or even just like our own experiences, a lot of like really creative things are born out of some kind of limitation. So
For sure.
like for me, that limitation is not really knowing like, or learning, I should say, how to use the gear that I have. And I think you get some fun stuff that comes out when you don't really know the rules that you're supposed to play by. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you said you both are pretty new to this. I was wondering if you kind of like run me through the history of this group and how y'all started like performing together.
Okay, so Nehemiah and I go back a ways. We're both from Iowa, and we both were part of the like hardcore scene down there. 2009, 10, 11-ish era. We briefly played in a band together. And then life took us other ways, and then we reconnected. I moved up here about 9 years ago, Nehemiah about 6, and we reconnected and talked about starting a band for a couple years, and then that finally happened. We did that for a while. That band ended, and Nehemiah's baby was born, and we just decided to start making noise, I guess, together, individually and then collectively. And we've been doing, I guess, this collaboration effort for just a few months now, and then kind of making noise on our own for maybe about a year.
And with people who are into kind of harsh, heavy music, I'm always curious, how did you all like get into this style of music? Like, did you kind of come at it from getting into hardcore and like metal, or more from being into electronic music, or how'd you kind of like discover harsh noise stuff?
I'm gonna let Curtis go first because this guy has never had a bad music phase in his life, so his story is way better.
I mean, I don't have to go all the way to the beginning, but like I think that early in my adolescence, I discovered metal and punk music, and I just dug deeper and deeper and deeper into obscurity, in music. And over, the last few years, I started paying a lot more attention to bands that utilized noise and started paying attention more to that noise and seeing noise artists and noise shows, and finally just decided like enough was enough. I'm going to start buying gear and making it myself. And that's just kind of how it happened. But bands like contemporary bands like Primitive Man and like Full of Hell were two like definitely influential bands, for me at least, early in the noise, like in first kind of hearing it and as a form of music, I guess.
For sure.
I guess I could just talk about how I got into noise. And I think there's like always kind of a solidarity between power violence and noise music. So I think listening to power violence and like a band like The Endless Blockade is probably one of my favorite power violence bands. Classic. And they had like a lot of noise in their songs. So just listening to that, really liking those parts, trying to figure out what they were doing kind of leads to some different rabbit trails. And yeah, Full of Hell, Primitive Man, kind of open... Yeah, Body Void for sure. Opened the door to other noise artists that I think we both have gotten into and enjoy, like Masana and Death Pile, stuff like that.
Dope. So I was also wondering, what's it like doing this sort of music? What's it like to book shows? Like, are you typically doing kind of mixed bills with like, I don't know, like punk bands and stuff, or is it oftentimes like all noise shows, or what's that like?
We're both fairly new to the noise scene in the Twin Cities, and there is like a really good noise scene in the Twin Cities. There are shows that are put on like every month, every couple months. So far, we've played just mixed bill shows, and I love playing mixed bill shows. I'm from a small town in Iowa where our scene was like so small that mixed bills weren't really a choice. So it's comfortable to me. I like it, but yeah.
And you all have like a few releases out now, and I believe most of them are splits with other artists. So I was wondering what you could tell us about how you got in touch with those artists and how you released that music.
Yeah, so Curtis and I both make noise individually as well. I have a project called Love Notes, and he has a project called Club. So we've both put out multiple releases under those monikers. We've put out some splits with the guy who runs Riff Merchant Records. He has a drone project called Thick, so we have a couple three-way splits for there. There was a new noise sampler that we put out on, or that we were a part of, like a compilation back in February. And yeah, just like a couple of solo releases that we both have put out. Am I forgetting anything?
No, I mean, oh, we did play a show as RDC in June, and that audio is up now on our Bandcamp for listening. I guess that's the only thing we've put out. We do intend to flesh out a debut release as RDC here, hopefully over the next few months, maybe early into next year. We'll get that done.
Sweet, it's exciting. And yeah, we talked about this a little bit behind the scenes, but where did the name RDC come from?
So it does stand for something, but it also stands for like a lot of different things. We took like some inspiration from the industrial band SPK and how like their name is SPK, but like it stands for a lot of different things. So RDC stands for could be a lot of different things. Ritual deprivation of consciousness was like one of the first ideas that we threw around, but that's just one among many. It's sort of just a empty floating signifier that people can project into.
Yeah, some intentional ambiguity.
Yes.
And yeah, we already talked about this a little bit, but being originally from Iowa and now being located in Minneapolis, what do you all think about the scene here and what, if anything, kind of makes us unique?
I love the Twin Cities scene. Like Curtis mentioned, my daughter was born about a year ago, so I haven't been to quite as many shows. But before that, I was in way too many bands in Twin Cities. Yeah, it's great. Like, I probably have the most experience in Twin Cities hardcore, and I feel like it's a nice, like, close-knit community of people. Going to shows are always fun. Getting to see people,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that would be my experience. Like, I took a long time kind of away from playing music, and when I moved up here about 9 years ago, I maybe went to a few shows here and there, but I was very just focused on my career. And it wasn't until Nehemiah and I got like reacquainted with each other, and I started going to hardcore shows with him, and then we started our band. So I guess really relatively like only in the last 3 years have I been kind of like popping up at shows again here and there. But I would say, yeah, like mainly like kind of hang out in the hardcore scene. And it's very young. Sometimes I feel a little old in it, but it is very like tight knit and communal, and it's dope. But now, I'm trying to like, we've been going to more, noise shows and meeting people there and making connections. And, that's cool too, because that scene seems also very small and not gatekeepy and just welcoming, too.
I just have like one thing to add to that. I grew up in a town of 5,000, and in like all of those small towns in the Midwest, there's like always one bigger small town that has a Walmart, and that's like the town that everybody flocks to. And I feel like Minneapolis is maybe like the Walmart of like the Midwest, and this is like surrounding area for like the rural areas around it. And I think like partly because of that, there's a really rich history in Minneapolis and St. Paul for noise music, for noise rock. There's like an incredible history for hardcore, for punk. So it's great to like be a part of our local scene now and just know that we're connected to this rich tapestry of like all of these really great bands that have played a big role, not just like in the local scene, but also in like the development of these genres.
Absolutely. And then one question we like to ask everyone who comes in here is if RDC could create a dream bill with any artist, dead or alive, broken up or still together, who would, you want to pick like one or two artists each and then pick where that would be at. What would that look like?
Hootie and the Blowfish. Just like ruin everyone's day. No, I don't know.
It's classic.
Man, that's tough. Gosh, I don't have a good answer for that. I think like with RDC, our goal is like to not really reinvent the wheel. We're not trying to break the mold. I would just love to be able to play shows, mixed bill or not, that are just well attended and every performer plays a dope set and it's just a good time and good vibes all around.
Sweet. And then, final question here is, do you have any shows or recordings coming up or other announcements you want the people to know about?
No, not really.
Album in the works, it sounds like.
No, yeah, we will be like writing and releasing like a proper RDC like studio release at some point, probably in 2026, like a little bit later. We don't have any other shows booked right now. I'm 33. Curtis is, I won't say your age, but a little bit older than that. So 36. We're kind of like taking it at our own clip. So yeah, we'll have like a release coming out sometime 2026. We would love to play some shows, but we also won't play a lot of them probably.
Awesome. And then this recording will be up next week for anyone hoping to listen. But yeah, this has been super fun. Thanks so much for coming in, y'all.
Thank you so much for having us here on Radio K.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this has been RDC on Radio K, Real College Radio.